Hola, amigos. Welcome to another Dialseed call review today. We have an account executive calling for himself. He sells AI customer service software, which means that there are companies or business owners that want to have AI handle and redirect their customer service calls for more effective um, customer satisfaction, less money spent on customer service, and more revenue, obviously. This person ended up booking the meeting, and he is calling a plumbing business, specifically a business owner of a plumbing business. So, this is my first time looking at it. Let's see how he does.
Hello. Hey, Dylan, full transparency, this is a cold call. Do you want to throw your phone out the window?
Do you want to throw your phone out the window?
Okay, this is one of my favorite call openers. Hey, XYZ, this is XYZ person. I'm calling from XYZ company. Um, in full transparency, this is a cold call. Do you want to throw your phone out a window? So, when we talk about the fundamentals of a good opener, you want to introduce your name, address the obvious, have a reason for your call, and ask a question. So, technically, he covers three of the four. But the guy gets confused a little bit, I think, because it's a pattern interrupt and it throws people off sometimes, which is okay. So let's see where this goes.
Depends on your response.
Huh?
I said depends on your response.
Um, yeah, I want to throw it out the window right now. So I'm going to do it.
I'm more okay. Okay, should I continue?
Huh? You're about to land on. You're about to land on the pavement. You're gonna be talking to the pavement here in a second.
So like, I can't really tell if this guy is trying to be funny or if he's actually just pissed that he's getting a cold call right now. The reality is, when we talk about the most common mistakes in the opener, one of the biggest things is stalling and silence and in confusion. You have to lead. You called this guy. It's already confusing that this guy doesn't know you, and it is a cold call. So I know this rep very well. He's a great rep. But what I would have done differently is I would have just gotten to the point. Hey, I know you weren't expecting my call, but and then just get straight into your first qualifying or engagement question.
Okay, I'll make sure I don't talk to payment. All right, so the reason for my calling is we work with a lot of companies, plumbing, to specifically find out their booking rate and service time. But this is where you tell me where you know exactly about your booking rate and everyone's booking really high. Yeah, that's fine. So you would.
So I would have done this a little bit differently, but it's fantastic. He basically is like, hey, we help these companies that are already in plumbing establishing social proof, making it easier for a conversation with, I believe he said, meetings connected or meetings booked, something like that. So the result that they help with, as well as giving a polar opposite question, which is, this is the part where you tell me where everything is 100% perfect and you have no problems with this specific problem, which in this case is you're getting a ton of meetings. The nice thing about this is that this person now has to defend their situation. This is a really great question. What I would have done differently is I probably would have qualified it first and been like, hey, just to make sure this is relevant, I would imagine you have a customer service team that fields like a lot of your requests that get put through online or from contact forms or from over the phone online. Is that right? Yeah, for sure. Hey, typically what I see, and this is pretty much across the board, is that these customer service reps don't truly have the accountability because the business owners are often business owner things. A lot of the times meetings slip through the cracks or customer satisfaction plummets through the floor because they're not being able to be held accountable, or they don't even have the coaching resources to be successful in their role. Does that resonate with you? And now we're getting into a good open-ended question about the main problem that he solves, which at the end of the day is customer satisfaction and the customer service reps being able to do their job. That's what I would have done here. But obviously, this is still a fantastic question.
Um, well, we book a little different.
Okay, that's great. Well, I appreciate it.
You see what I mean? We book a little bit differently. So like qualifying, hey, by the way, this is like if the thing in the company that you need to know to sell the product like this is how they book, then I would want to know that first and qualify a question that's not necessarily showing all my cards first. Like I'm trying to sell them something, but I'm actually trying to understand to make sure that this is going to be relevant for them.
Well, we book a little different.
Okay, that's great. Well, I appreciate that.
So, because we work for the home warranty, so we have we book a lot of calls, but they can't be, it would be hard to book them with AI or any type of features like that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
We mainly focus.
This person is confused. I think the rep is probably about to reframe this concern, make sure that this person knows that this is actually something that everybody thinks, but the reality is that's not true. And the reasons it's not true is because of XYZ, and this is how they help.
On coaching the CSRs. So it's AI just to make sure the CSRs are following the script, right? And then making sure they're doing everything they can to book the appointment and for second chance leads.
So you want to listen to
This guy seems distracted.
all the phone calls.
Right. Yeah, we listen to 100% of the phone calls, and then help your team coach the CSRs on better ways to handle that, and then to go after second chance leads.
Well,
So the last thing I would do here, go after second chance leads, make sure the meetings are booked, is I would have tied it back to the business owner. So this is solving a business problem, but it's not necessarily making it real, or it's not tying it back to the personal part for the business owner. So this way, your customer service leads can get more meetings on the calendar and follow up with more second chance leads. That way, you can still focus on all of your day-to-day activities, making sure that your customer service team is held accountable so that you don't have to worry about customer service ever again. So we got your back, and you can bring in more revenue with half the work. Something like that.
I'm saying we book a totally different call, and so we get tons of phone calls. And I've already done this before, and I get like 4,000 phone calls a month, and I'm not going to be billed for y'all listening to calls that are not leads, that are even billable calls, and there's no way for y'all to decipher that. So,
okay, so he's tried this before, which is really, really important to note, because right now they're stuck in logistics. We do not want to be stuck in logistics. People make decisions based on emotion, and this guy is an emotionally really lame, boring state right now, and he's very uninterested. So you could say the perfect thing that would get him to understand that what he just said is completely wrong and that this is the best thing since sliced bread. But if this guy does not have any emotion driven behind it, he does not care. It's because we're not making it real. We're stuck in logistics. So what I would do here is, knowing that this is a real objection, first we got to empathize with this guy. This dude spent probably a ton of time with another client, bringing on another client, implementing this, trying to get his customer service reps to actually use it, looking at it, figuring out the data. It's not easy work. A lot of the time, sales reps underestimate how much time and how much effort and how much of a priority business owners put on these things when they try it. And if it doesn't go well, they're not stupid. They've been burned in some way, whether that was their fault or the service's fault. We need to understand not what happened yet. We need to understand, why did they even try something in the first place? Because right now we don't have any problems. The problem was the service provider. What we need to do is get this prospect in an emotional state, which means that we need to get back to the problems that this business solves. So what I would have asked right here, instead of going into logistics again, and what he's probably going to do is probably talk about how they qualify people differently, and that, oh, we don't bill you in this way, and you get into pricing, and the reality is that's not what the business owner wants to hear. They want to hear what you can do for them to make the money. So I would have empathized first. Hey, I know that's a lot of work to bring on someone, and to be burned like that absolutely sucks, because it makes you never want to do this again. Trust me, I've been there. Can I ask though, before I tell you why this will never be a problem, and this is like step Z of the process, because we figure that out, just letting you know, why did you even bring this on in the first place? What were you trying to do? Oh, we were trying to book more meetings. Our customer service reps sucked. We had no time. We had to hire more people. We ran out of budget, so we tried to save money. Whatever that is. Now you have so much more leverage for your pitch. You land your pitch. So when you think about landing the plane, it's nice and smooth. Right? You're not just like guessing exactly what this person cares about. You know what this person cares about. Because if this person has a problem, then he'll show up to the meeting. If he doesn't have a problem, then he won't show up to the meeting.
Makes sense. I've already been down this road before.
See, he's pissed. Not pissed, just he doesn't want to do this again.
Well, we are able to qualify the two, though. Like, essentially, you would tell us what a qualified lead is. First off, we pay off of seats, so you wouldn't be paying for those unqualified leads, but we would be able to qualify between the two. Essentially, you would say if it's a home warranty call and it's in your territory and you have these services, then that's a call that we would actually analyze, and all the other calls would go into another bucket.
You see, it wasn't necessarily like empathizing. Again, this guy tried something already. It was clearly our priority. And I absolutely 100% get what this rep is trying to do here. He's trying to be like, look, what your concern is not actually a concern. But the reality is, to this guy, it's a major concern. So what we want to do is redirect the conversation and handle this after we book the meeting or close to after the pitch. This will come up after the pitch, after this guy knows that we're actually here to help them and not just displace competitors or get them a cheaper price.
There's just really no way to determine who's like, because they're going to call in and want to book, and it's going to sound like a.
And by the way, I say this too because sometimes you do have to qualify prospects, but this is not qualifying because this rep knows that this person's problems can be solved. So you would only want to get stuck in logistics if you're actually trying to figure out how to qualify this prospect. But clearly, this person is qualified.
That's been generated from like Google or something. And you are going to think, then you're going to say, well, that was a lead generated call. Well, it's really not. And so.
Right. Well, we have customers who are using us it makes total sense. We have customers using us for lead attribution because it can come from Google, but it still might not be a lead. The main point is the context of the actual call. And if it's actually a lead that your customer, like, that you can book, even if it, we'll go by your playbook.
I love that line. To rephrase it a little bit. Hey, I just want to let you know that the customers that we work with have never actually brought this up as a concern to us because this is not the way we operate. We operate based on your playbook because what happens is you tell us exactly what you want to pay for, and that's what we charge you for. We don't charge you just based on our pricing model. We charge you based on what you feel like would be something that could convert. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. You see how that feels more real? It's simple. Obviously, hindsight is 2020. It's easier to be a coach than it is to play sometimes, but this is how I would have rephrased it.
Yeah, if a lady calls in and says, hey, I need to book my appointment, I put a work order in with the American Home Shield. Then
you see, like the reason this guy is still stuck in logistics is because we're not back to problems. And even at this point, if we were still stuck in logistics, I would have pushed for a meeting at this point, knowing that this isn't a problem. And then he can give me objections and I can clarify and get more context after I book the meeting because clearly this guy is distracted. He doesn't really want to be here. This is stuff that we can play around with after he has accepted the calendar invite. And then we can reassure him that that will not be a problem after we have interest, that we can still solve his problems. Because now that this rep is making his company, again, he could say everything that this prospect wants to hear, but in this prospect's mind, he's exactly like every other company out there because he's still caught trying to argue that, like, no, I know my business and you guys don't know what to do. But the reality is we do know what we're doing.
That's not a lead to us.
Right. I mean, we would consider that, we would say that's technically an existing customer or already someone that came through here. So depending on what you define as a lead, that's what we'll go after. The system will learn based off of what you decide as lead.
The last part that he can do here is, again, tie it back to the personal and the business outcome. And then get a tie down question so we can just go for the meeting. So something like that would be like, no, we do this because XYZ so that you can get outcome, make sure that this goes right so you can go and focus on other things that matter to you so you never have to worry about this again. Does that make sense to you, or does the concept even lock in your brain? Yes. We were at this point already on the call and we hadn't redirected it earlier.
Well, who's gonna be able to determine that?
So the AI is going to be able to determine that based off of what you give us for the parameters. So essentially, you would show us. We would go back.
By the way, this is a good sign that he's actually really engaged at this point. Now he's more engaged and he's asking questions. It sounds like he's finding a way in-ish. Could be finding a way out.
Inside a service site and look at all the calls you do classify as a lead, and then mimic that. And all the calls you say, hey, these aren't leads, then the AI is able to automatically go through all those calls and say, all right, this is someone coming, like you mentioned, from home warranty. This is not a lead. We would put that under existing customer or someone that's not a lead, and then focus on the ones that are truly qualified.
You see, like, this rep said everything perfectly, right? He immediately said, hey, this is not what you think it is. We promise we're different. But again, when you just pitch differently, and you're talking about logistics and you haven't actually gotten back to the problem that this guy wants to solve, he's not in his emotional state. He's just bored. He's like basically trying to get off the phone, but hoping that you say something magical. But it's never going to feel magical if we don't get this guy back into his emotional state. And we want to also do that in a way where we are teeing up more value, not just trying to differentiate and try to answer logistical questions. Because right now, this guy has control of the conversation. This rep needs to be leading more and asking more engaging questions and tie-down questions and open-ended questions at the end of these statements in order to keep the conversation and momentum going. Because right now, it's stalled. It's been stalled for about 3 minutes.
I mean, if you're open to it, I'm happy to set up a time next week for 30 minutes just to show it. And if it doesn't work out, then no hard feelings.
Good fundamentals there. I wouldn't use, are you open to it? I would say, are you completely against? Are you violently against? Are you opposed? Would you be opposed? We like to use present tense, though, because it makes it more harder to say no to. It's a no-oriented question. I love how we said, just to show you what this is, if it doesn't work out for you, then no hard feelings. Again, we want to provide the value of the meeting. I wouldn't say just to show you what it is. I'd be like, look, if you got the problems earlier in an ideal world, this is where you go to show you how we solve XYZ problems. And I can show you exactly what that looks like in like a visual sense. So I don't just have to send you a boring email. And then you and I can figure out if there's something that is actually worth exploring. And if not, it's completely okay. At least you have, and whatever the reason would be, that they would get value out of the meeting, even if they never bought. So at least you have an idea in the back of your mind of what this could be in the future, or at least you know that this is completely not going to work for your business model, and you can reassure all of the things that you told me today, even though I can tell you it's not true. Something like that.
Yeah.
You see, like, you can tell this guy isn't paying attention. Oh, yeah, all of a sudden. I mean, he's just trying to get off the phone.
We can look at it. Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, it's something. Hey, man, you sound hesitant. I'm not forcing you to do anything. But I do truly, and you don't want to leave it there because they will find a way out. You just want to get them to defend why they are interested. Hey, man, if you actually are interested, you sound hesitant, but I genuinely do think, just based on the plumbing businesses that we work with, that the concerns that you have are not actually an issue, and we can genuinely make you more money by doing half the work. Does that sound like something that would be worth the conversation at the very least? Yeah, of course.
All right.
But today, right now, is not a good time. I'm like, if you can't tell, I'm in the middle of something like really important.
Yep.
Maybe call back tomorrow midday, but right now, I'm like tied up in something.
Yeah, no worries. Here's what I'll do. I'll just send over a meeting request for like February 4th, and then I'll call you tomorrow to confirm that and see if that works. Otherwise, we can always reschedule it.
I wouldn't have let him off the hook. Hey, man, I get I get it's important. Would it be a crazy idea to just take a look at the calendar and see when we can meet? Yeah, I'm really busy right now. I mean, it honestly doesn't sound like this is really a priority for you. Is it a priority or is it not a priority for you? Yeah, it is a priority. I'm just really busy. Okay, cool. What I can do, if it would help, if it would help, right, is I can call back in an hour. I can call back in an hour and a half and set a reminder on your calendar and text you and send you a calendar link so you can find a time on my calendar. And I'm still going to send a dart for tomorrow, half an hour, and you can tell me if it doesn't work. And if they say that sounds good, I'm gonna be like, cool. If that does genuinely sound cool, then I'm going to have you accept it by the end of the day. Otherwise, I'm going to have to bother you again and again and again for the next 3 weeks straight. And I don't think you want that, do you? No, I don't. Okay. So, can you pull up your calendar and see if this works for you right now? And I would push and be very aggressive, especially with this guy, because the chances of a no show with this guy are very high. Sure, he could call back, but we don't want to do that if we don't have to. Because again, this guy's not going to be in the buying state. He's going to have more stuff come up. He's going to push you off a week, and then a week becomes next year, and then it doesn't work. So even though you feel like you might have the meeting on the hook, you don't actually have it until it's booked on the same call. Follow ups almost never work. If you've been in sales for long enough, you know this. But again, it's plan C. We don't want to make a plan A. But overall, I actually think this is a really good job. I would probably give this like a 7 out of 10 because he has a great opener. He asks a very good engagement question. His tone is there. He's matching the energy of this prospect perfectly. I would say his pace is a little bit fast, but I know this guy and he's got ADHD, so that's just a natural part of his part of his pace. Um, and what I would say where he can improve mostly is he needs to get back to the problems that he can actually solve so he can make a pitch. Because there was never really a pitch made. There kind of was, but there was no leverage to it. And he was stuck in logistics. And we don't want to get stuck in logistics. That's for a later time. That's like me walking up to a gym, looking at personal training, and I keep asking the trainer all of the sets that we're going to do and all of the reps and the entire plan before we even figure out what my goal weight wants to be, and also am I actually fat in the first place. So that's for later time. That's pricing. That doesn't matter. That's what this guy's concerned about. So we could even go back to budget and be like, it sounds like budget is a concern. Like what's on your mind? Get him to open up about that. But overall, 7 out of 10. Great job for this rep.